Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's case is a very disturbing case and it actually happened in my hometown, so it makes it even more eerier, so let's jump right into it. Anna Lee was a 24-year-old woman who had been an academic star throughout high school, college, and she was on her way to earning her doctorate at Yale University, the prestigious Ivy League college located in New Haven, Connecticut. She was just 5 days away from getting married to the love of her life when she went missing from a lab on campus in 2009. Anna Lee was born in San Jose, California in 1985 and grew up in a large, tight-knit Vietnamese American family. She was also the valedictorian of her graduating high school class, and she was voted most likely to be the next Einstein by her classmates. Annie Lee found her studies so important that she actually received $160,000 in scholarship and got her undergraduate degree in cell development biology from the University of Rochester in upstate New York. While attending university in Rochester, she actually met the love of her life, and his name was Jonathan Wadawiski. At Yale, Annie studied pharmacology and she monitored the effects of different medicines on mice. The campus laboratories were located at 10 Amistad Street, and security camera footage captured her entering the building at around 10 a.m. on September 8, 2009. But they never captured her leaving the building. When Annie failed to return home that night, her roommate actually reported her missing. When they reported her missing, they had did an investigation on the lab that she was in. They had reported that they found her pocketbook and cell phone in the lab, but Annie was nowhere to be found. What makes this even more eerie is that Annie actually wrote an article about campus safety and crime on campus right before her disappearance. Initially, police were not sure what they were dealing with. They did not think that they were dealing with a homicide. Their initial theory was that maybe Annie had gotten cold feet from the wedding, and there was even more confusion with the footage that they seen because they never saw Annie leaving the building, so they had no idea where she was. And another thing that was very hard for investigators to piece is that the area in which Annie was in needed to have ID cards scanned to have access to the building. Anytime visitors exited or entered the building, an ID card had to have been scanned. So investigators were stumped. They didn't know exactly what they were looking for, and there was no sign of Annie within the building. However, investigators did shut down the lab in which Annie was in, and they also shut down that specific location as well, so nobody was going in and out because it was a crime scene. And upon further investigation, they also ended up finding bloody clothing in the ceiling on September 12th. According to police, they had noticed on September 13th that there was a particular smell within the building, and it was similar to that of a decomposing body. After police had started to think that there was a body within the building, they brought in cadaver dogs for further investigation. What makes it so tragic is that on September 13th at 5 p.m., Annie should have been walking down the aisle with the love of her life, and unfortunately, her decomposing body was found stuffed upside down in one of the walls in the laboratory. After Annie's body was found, the medical examiner was called in, and they stated that Annie had died from traumatic asphyxiation by neck compression. It was also revealed that Annie also had a broken jaw and a broken collarbone, injuries that the medical examiner said that happened while she was alive. Unfortunately, her bra had been pushed up and her panties were pulled down to her ankles. Detectives also found semen on a panty liner and other parts of her body, which led investigators to believe that Annie had been sexually assaulted before she had died. Even before Annie's body was found, detectives were already zeroing in on a man named Ray Clark. Ray Clark actually worked at the lab that Annie studied at, and he didn't attend Yale University. He was just a custodial worker. Another detail about Clark is that students had known him to be very angry when students used to leave any mess in the lab or they didn't clean up after themselves, because he would say that they were making more work for him to do. Another fact about this case that's very interesting is that Clark actually had emailed Annie to complain about her leaving the dirty mice cages behind after her studies. When the medical examiner was able to get a DNA sample, it matched that of Clark. Since the DNA sample had matched that of Clark, on September 17th, 2009, Ray Clark was finally arrested. Ray Clark actually pleaded guilty to murder in exchange for a 44-year prison sentence. He had previously faced charges of murder and felony murder, both of which held a prison sentence of 60 years in prison. So he just decided, I'm going to plead guilty to avoid a 60-year prison sentence for a lighter sentence, which that shouldn't even be a thing, because he took an innocent life for absolutely no reason, because investigators can't even hold together a motive, because Clark himself doesn't even understand why he did it. He also entered an Alford plea for one count of attempt to commit sexual assault, which means that he is not openly admitting that he did that, but he concedes that there's enough evidence for a conviction. Clark, who was 26 at the time of sentencing, won't be released until 2053, at which time he will be almost 70 years old. At the hearing, he did apologize to Annie's family, and I just want to say that even though he apologized, it doesn't take away from what he did. He doesn't even give a motive as to why he even did that. Even if he did give a motive, it still would not justify anything that he did. Anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts below. Poor Annie was literally about to get married in only 3 days, and she lost her life to someone who can't even give the family a reason as to why he did what he did. To me, it just proves that he's a coward. Have you guys heard about this case? Let me know down below your thoughts. Stay tuned for more true crime cases, and like and subscribe. Thank you guys so much, and please stay